So I had this idea that's probably not a very new idea, graphing numbers, right? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to graph weight and get an idea of like how diets and exercise and various things can impact what you do. And so I approached it in the normal, very simple way of, let's make a line graph. It's brilliant, right? At which point a friend told me that was a horrible idea, because it doesn't actually tell you anything. Whether you're losing or gaining weight, you just see a point that tells you where you're at today, where you were at yesterday, but it doesn't really do anything. You have fluctuation from water weight. It's difficult to understand if you're gaining or losing weight. This whole thing, throughout the entire course of this graph, you're losing weight, but you see massive gains during it, which can be a lot to discourage a lot of people. And so my friend pointed me to a book, The Hacker's Diet. And it essentially goes on to say that you should use an exponentially decayed average to get a trending weight and then a measured weight, and you can easily tell from these two lines if you're gaining or losing weight, which I thought was a brilliant idea. Good book. It has like 4 or 5 really good ideas in it if you read it. So that same graph that we saw before, now it's a lot more clear whether you're losing or gaining weight. And so in this graph, we have a couple of pieces of information. Your trending line, which is the blue line that goes down, and you have the red points, which are your actual measured weight. Another feature, you see a little line up there on the right-hand side. That's what your trending weight was 28 days ago, which is really useful for something, specifically women's cycles and menstrual cycles will have large weight fluctuations. So by seeing where you were at that time during your last period, you get a better understanding of things. Yay, math. So before I made WeightGrapher, this all kind of started as a really simple thing. It was a folder on my computer with a CVS file that had a date and a weight. And then I had a script, and I ran the script, and it made another CVS file, which also told me my trend. And then that invoked an R script, which went and made the pretty display. And then opened it, and it was like, here's your graph today. And that worked really well for me. And then a fun thing happened. London Pro Workshop 2012. Mark was like, this is a Fitbit. It's awesome. And so I ended up going to Fitbit and noticing that they had a smart scale. And that had an API. So now I have a scale that had an API and could tell you things. And a collection of scripts that graph things. Make a web service. So why not? And then, instead of a folder, there was another folder, but it contained a fast CGI service called WeightGrapher. And I used Dancer, because that's what you use now, apparently, or like 5 other things. Puppet, because where I worked used Puppet, so it was really easy to be like, hey, systems people come in. DBIX class with Postgres, because databases do stuff. And then I went to look at the API. And Perl had Web Services Fitbit, and Web Services Fitbit was broken because it was made for an API that they had released about 3 or 4 years ago, which they no longer supported at all. And so I wrote a new one, and it's in GitHub. It's not on CPAN yet, because it's not feature compatible with the one that doesn't work anymore. It will be replaced at some point soon. So I still had all of these scripts that invoked R and spit things out in your terminal, which for a web service isn't really fun. If you have any amount of users being like, please hold on a moment while I do a background process and port this thing off to make you a PNG file. It's usually when people run away. So when I looked at a bunch of graphing things, and I found high charts, and all of the charts that you've seen so far are pretty much stolen from the website, and they all use high charts. Results. What does the website actually look like? We have a front page thingy. If there's more down, but the image is scaled enough. There's a marketing term for it. Landing page. The landing page. So those are fun. you go and you register, and I steal all of your information and sell it to all of the people. Very valuable and useful. And then you have no records to graph, and it's very sad. So you can click any of the billions of links there to tell you how to go and do things. And import weight. Hooked up with Fitbit and lose it, and also you can have your own CDS file if you made an OR program to graph your weight and then want to use WeightGrapher. And then you get this page as a graph, which has a whole bunch of different bits and stuff on it. First, one of the things that we take from Fitbit, and you can configure yourself in a profile, is what your target weight is that you want. And we'll estimate using highly analytic. So we'll estimate when you will actually reach your target weight. Then we do this, which has the red points being actual days that we collected your data, either through you giving us how much you weighed, Fitbit telling us how much you weighed. If you did neither of those things, you get a little blue dot. Because doing all the predictions and everything like that, we really need regular data to do any type of smoothing. So we use a least squares regression if you don't give us that information, and that's represented as a blue dot, which you can go back and enter and tell us how much you weighed. And so we tell you trending weight, which is the number we get from the exponentially decayed average, how much you weighed, how much you've lost in the last week, how much you've lost in the last month, and what we predict you'll weigh a month from now. We have 5,700 users as of 10:34 this morning, which is how you know I was prepared for this talk. I was working at the slide at 10:34 this morning. It spawned a couple of projects, Web Service Fitbit, LWP Optical Watt Complex, and a couple of puppet modules to set up monitoring stuff. Patches went to Dancer and a couple of different puppet modules from this. And people on Reddit seem to like it and say nice things about me. Or, well, the site. They don't seem to know who I am. It's disappointing. So the future of this thing is mostly going to be adding forms after I have like 10,000 active users. Because before that, it's really boring to open a form and have like 3 people talking to themselves. But once there's a lot of people, that'll be fun. And adding things so people can share their results through links and have competition type things, because that's always fun. Thank you. Who has questions? Fantastic. You have a question. What is your question?
You've got a predicted weight in a month. How does that deal with like minimum body fat? Like if you're approaching?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
No. It's essentially for the period of time when you're losing weight. What it does is it looks at the average of how much you've been losing over essentially the history of when you had it, and goes, oh, a month from now we think you're going to weigh this if we regress it out. So it doesn't take into account like, oh no, you don't weigh anything anymore and you have no body fat to lose or water to lose.
I saw a tab for body fat earlier in one of your slides.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
With body fat, I do the exact same type of graph on it, and we will pull that from Fitbit.com itself. We don't have a place for you to enter it yourself yet, but if you have an area scale, it will automatically be pulled. We'll be adding manual input for it as well. And for weight, you can also manually input that.
It would be good to have a feature that kind of predicted how you plough into minimum body fat.
But body fat, do you mean body mass index?
No, I mean body fat.
Okay.
So like, the closer you get to having no body fat, the harder it is to lose fat, surprisingly, you know, which for people like me and Matt becomes important for different reasons. But
I have no idea what I'm actually
because he has no body fat. The one that looks like skeletal, but he has no body fat.
So you deliberately avoided body mass index? You deliberately avoided body mass index?
Yes, I did.
Good.
I don't like
Sexes,
it.
races, ages and sizes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
agreed.
basically the American collegiate system for the white males.
Agreed.
worst thing ever invented?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the worst.
Awful.
Because there were gas chambers and chains. But apart from that.
And jobs.
Yeah, there's a whole It's wonderful.
It's the worst commonly used thing ever invented.
Yeah.
It's basically the MongoDB of fitness.
Also, if we're assuming that we're not, also tracking height as a variable, it's just multiplying by a constant.
Mm-hmm.
All the graphs look the same
Are you
anyway.
getting shorter to
It's
just
the
graph
convenient
progression?
The MI is there to make it more depressed, and that's really the long and short of it. Doesn't matter what you do, you're always just going to end up really depressed at the end of it. In my opinion.
Any other questions?
There's some question and suggestion. Since you seem to be expanding quite quickly in ideas and features, there's a cup that I saw a while ago that monitors everything you put into you, in terms of liquids, in terms of calories. And the idea is to start to hook up with sites like yours that so you can it actually measures what's in the cup. If you put juice in it, it tells you how many
Do
calories.
you know what it's called?
No. But it shouldn't be too hard to find. There can't be that many cups that analyze the
Cup that records what's in the cup.
Yeah,
It's a
I have a Google
recently
search
finished
to
job.
do.
yeah, and so that kind of thing would be good for calorie intake and measuring.
Fantastic. Thank you.
How about activity?
Activity, I plan to integrate with Fitbit's actual activity bit. I already do their weight stuff, but I want people to be able to overlay activity from that with things and the Nike thing with their weight so they can see how it looks. That is not done at all.
It would be cool to have some sort of open source thing that allowed you to instead of having to use something proprietary like Fitbit or something like that you could do yourself, that you could run in parallel with this actually. I don't know if you've thought about that and
I have
there's not
not.
that many out there really that are any good, I don't think so.
I haven't thought about it besides opening a reading and writing API for it, which before when I first was working on it didn't really make sense because I had me and 3 other people using it, so why do we need an API?
Yeah.
But at this point people are starting to ask for it, and so you could build something off of the API.
Crowdsource it or something, couldn't you? Something like that. You could crowdsource something like some sort of easier version of Fitbit that you don't pay through the nose for. Take Scotland.
I don't think there's any more questions. People can go early and get drunk now.
The cup is called Vessel of Wine.
That's a little bit fine, I think.
Vessel.
Thank you.